Welcome back to the channel. We're making our way through the Tai Chi Yang Style 108 form, and we're closing in on the end of the first section. We just finished brush knee, and then we have left to do step forward and parry punch, apparent close-up, and then cross hands. In this video, we're going to be looking at step forward and parry punch. I'll begin with a demonstration starting from step forward and parry punch and going all the way through to cross hands. If you're new to the channel, I'm Dr. Todd Martin, creator of the Tai Chi Code. Let's go ahead and get started. The first movement after brush knee is going to be the pivot out on the front foot, 45 degrees. Then we're going to shift forward and then go into empty stance, circling the arms. Bring the left palm to the ear as we circle a fist with the right palm. And then come down on the right heel, angled out at 45 degrees that way. We're going to shift forward as the left arm begins to reach forward, and then step out onto the left heel. The left heel will be in line with the left arm. Then we begin to shift forward to prepare for the punch, and then we perform the punch. When we perform the punch, the left palm is going to go back along the right arm up until about the right elbow. The left knee should move up just in front of the left ankle. Vertical posture at all times, just like we do in the rest of the form. Now I'll go back through this and talk about the technique a little bit more. The pivot out on the front foot is different than the one that we did when we were transitioning from brush knee left to brush knee right. When we did the brush knee left to brush knee right pivot, the hands remained in a similar position because we were continuing to turn the upper waist to the left as we shifted back. When we do the pivot to step forward and parry punch, we're going to turn the upper waist to the right, and that is what's going to bring the right hand up, like this. So the upper waist and lower waist are turning towards the rear leg, creating that motion as the left foot turns out. Then we're going to shift forward, keeping the arms in a relatively same position. And then we're going to turn the waist all to the left, freeing up the right leg and beginning the arms to circle. And then we're going to press up, pushing up with the left hip as we circle the arms in this fashion and form the fist. We begin to form the fist because we're performing a pluck motion. If you recall from the previous videos, pluck involves turning the upper waist towards the extending hip, in this case the left hip, and then turning the lower waist away from the extending hip. This is the first time we'll be doing pluck while we're in a single leg stance. And the energy of the hip is coming from the standing leg hip turning towards that hip as we turn the belly button away from that hip, creating some of that rotation. And that energy is creating the fist as we turn against the extending hip. So this is the pluck action here. And then now we're going to reverse all of the core movement, now extending the right hip as I turn the upper waist to the right and the lower abs to the left, now rooting the left leg. Now we're going to reverse the core movements again, extending the left hip, turning the upper waist to the left and lower waist to the right, rooting the right leg. So these last three movements are the same exact pattern of core movement, but we're switching from one leg to the other and then back. And then now we're going to flex our left hip and step out onto the heel. When we do this, the upper waist is turning to the right, lower waist is turning to the left. That is the same step out core pattern that we use when we step out into our heel stance in Parting the Wild Horse's mane or in Grasp the Sparrow's Tail. Same stepping pattern, just coming from a different position. We're coming from this position, and then we're going to do that same core movement pattern. Now we are going to do the strike or the punch with the fist, and this uses two core movements sequenced together. The first one is going to continue the same core rotation that we have here in the waist, but we're going to extend the right hip. That creates this motion here. And then we're going to switch the core rotation from left to right, creating the push, which is going to create the punch. So that combination of core movements, the sequence would be the same if we were doing kickboxing exercises, the same as doing a jab cross or the 1-2 punch. That is the pluck technique followed by the push technique. When we do that in kickboxing, you can see how the arm projects out when we do the jab, and then the left arm is going to retract as we do the cross. We're starting in a different position here, but it's the same motion. This would be the equivalent of the jab, but the arm is already projected out, so it doesn't go very far. And then that would be the cross when we change the waist rotation from left to right, and the left hand retracts and the punch goes out. Let's sequence this all together again. Shift back and pivot out with a slight roll back. You shift forward, turn the waist all the way to the left, circle up, making a fist, bring the heel down, shift forward, step out onto the heel, begin the strike, and complete the strike. So when we finish the strike, we're in the equivalent of the core movement of push. We have extension from our right hip, right upper waist projecting the right arm forward, right lower waist tucking or rooting that rear leg. Same movement that we had when we did the brush knee, but from a different starting position. For those interested in the core technique explanation, which is where I go into more detail on the core movements and how they relate to the 8 energies of Tai Chi, I'm going to be doing that over on the Tai Chi Code course, and that will be linked in the description section. Thanks for joining me, and in the next video, we will be doing apparent close-up.